to live back in a bit, meditate, I think I should. No, we ain't friends, got me on
Logic as an artist has had a career with many ups and downs within the hip-hop community. Despite this, it seems that the upper echelon of hip-hop artists and rappers have not only revered his work, but co-signed the Maryland MC and welcomed him in with open arms. Today we uncover the truth as to why so many hip-hop legends love Logic while the hip-hop community tends to shun him. Coming up in the game, Logic was a rapper from Gaithersburg, Maryland, who made a lot of noise with his mixtapes, coming up in the game and then being signed to Def Jam shortly after. He was heavily respected and revered for his lyrical ability, his wordplay, and his storytelling, and so much so that one of the best storytellers and lyricists in hip-hop history, Nas, actually tried to sign Logic in 2012.
Remember meeting Nas for the first time, shook his hand and he started quoting my lines, said he a fan, goddamn, this is my time.
Logic actually denied this as he did not want to have his career be within the legend's shadow, but this is Logic's first interaction and praise from a hip-hop legend in such a public and serious way. With Logic's Def Jam deal, he got to work with the legendary producer and rapper No I.D, who executively produced his first studio album in 2014 entitled Under Pressure.
But Def Jam hit me up, you know what I'm saying, Noah pressed him. He linked me with No I.D, man, and I was like, yo, No I.D, that's yay, that's Jay, that's common.
No I.D would later come back to executively produce his 2020 release, No Pressure, a sequel to the Under Pressure album. The next legends that Logic would link up with would be Royce da 5'9" and DJ Premier, and they collaborated on their song Mode in 2015. Logic would keep in touch with these artists as they would collaborate later. Royce would feature Logic on the song Caterpillar, and Logic would feature Royce on the song 10 Years on his newest album Vinyl Days, and also DJ Premier on the Vinyl Days title track. In 2017, Logic would release one of his most controversial albums to date entitled Everybody, where he did have a track with some hip-hop legends entitled America, which featured Black Thought from The Roots, who's actually Logic's favorite rapper, Chuck D from Public Enemy, and No I.D, who is actually rapping on the track, which is the first track he has rapped on in many, many years, and Logic is the only artist he has rapped on a track with since. I think Black Thought shows one of the first reasons as to why these hip-hop legends love and respect Logic so much, because Black Thought admits that he isn't even the hugest fan of all of Logic's music, but he respects Logic as a person and how he respects the game and the people who came before him and the pioneers of hip-hop, and Black Thought was a fan of that enough to collaborate with him and create a song he actually did like with Logic.
I'm not the hugest fan of Logic's music. In all honesty, I like the song we did together. Yeah. I like some of the joints on his new album, but I really like Logic just as a dude, you know what I'm saying? And for me, sometimes that matters more. And I'll be willing to go into the studio and collaborate with people and just, like see what comes of it.
And on this album was also the widely popular and smash hit 1-800-273-8255, which launched Logic into the mainstream, making him a household name, performing at the Grammys, the VMAs, and more. Now, for an artist who came up during the mixtape era, making a name off of his lyricism and wordplay, to having one of the most popular songs ever be a massive pop song featuring two massive pop artists, isn't exactly the best look for someone in the hip-hop community, especially when that song is about mental health and things that aren't traditionally talked about by the hip-hop community as a whole, especially after the biracial meme started to do this album. A lot of people were not taking Logic seriously, and of course, after this mainstream success, he followed through with the trap-inspired Bobby Tarantino 2, which I actually thought was a solid record, but had a lot of trap and mainstream-sounding songs. There was even a song with Marshmello on there, so it's obvious Logic was trying to go the mainstream route, make the money, and this is something that he's reflected on and admitted he's done, because he was just trying to follow through and make all the money he could in this time so he could make music he wanted to in the future. Now, later this year, Logic wanted to come back and claim his fame as a lyricist and an MC and drop the Young Sinatra 4, which was an album that was a sequel to his classic mixtapes from back in the day, where he was respected and revered by his peers in hip-hop. And this album actually featured all of the Wu-Tang Clan on one song called Wu-Tang Forever, which Logic is one of the only rappers in this generation at all that Wu-Tang even has featured on, especially all of them at once. I don't think that's ever happened with anyone. So the fact that they did this for Logic shows a lot, and that is an enormous amount of respect right there. And the RZA even talks about this, and he talks about Logic quite highly in his explanation for this feature.
But my thing is, y'all, like, Logic did a song with y'all, right? And y'all could do it with anyone. I thought the way that was done was respectfully. He showed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did that feel like for you with somebody that's on the younger end that came in and knew what was going down and paid that much homage?
Well, Well, you know, we gotta respect that. You know, Logic's a very intelligent young man, a chess player. He likes, you know, I know we got a game coming soon. He's challenged me over the gram, and I gotta meet that challenge. He's probably been studying all the books, right?
Yeah.
But no, he's a very intelligent young man, and he represents to me a classic style of hip hop. You know what I mean? He's focused on his lyrics. He understands the boom bap era, as we call it. And so I think it's only right. And, you know, when he asked me, you know, he called me up. He was like, yo, I just sold out Madison Square Garden. I'm enjoying life. And I got an epiphany, and I had to ask the Abbott, can I have the entire Wu-Tang Clan on the song with me? I said, well, you know what, bro? Let me go holler at the guards and see what's up. It was that simple. And I hollered and said, yo, look, this young man, you know, is doing great things for himself. He's a great representation of hip-hop. He's also a great representation of the evolution of hip-hop. Here you have a young man who comes, you know, from B-More, mixed family, and is able to be a representation of American culture as well. And with America, like the Dr. King America.
Right, yeah.
You know
Tell me about it.
So
I have a dream.
Yeah, he's one of those kids, right? And he loves what the Wu do and what the Wu stands for. And, you know,
I love how you said what the Wu do and what the Wu stands for, as opposed to what Wu's done and what they stood.
Yeah,
very present, always.
Yes, sir. And they, you know, the brothers all agreed. You know, I mean, some brothers waved their, like, you know, some brothers, you know, maybe got some economics out of it, but I feel like most of the brothers was like, nah, it's all good. It wasn't an economic thing. It was respect to the young man, respect to the hip hop culture.
The RZA and Logic are two people that would continue to work together, as they have a song on Logic's newest album entitled Portal 1, and also an upcoming song called Cruising Through the Universe that will be on Logic's upcoming album College Park. Soon after, Eminem would invite Logic to open up for a show for him in early 2019, and little did we know this would soon turn into a collaboration with the two entitled Homicide, which would actually end up being one of Logic's most popular tracks. So this actually was a track with a hip-hop legend where Logic was trying to be rap and be lyrical. That did kind of blow up, but the unfortunate reality is that this track landed on the extremely controversial album Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. So if anything, this didn't exactly help Logic's reputation as an MC. Logic would then drop his No I.D. executive produced album in 2020 entitled No Pressure, where he claimed he was retired. We know now that's not exactly the truth, but that was the vision for him at the moment. And shortly after, he would submerge with a new alias entitled Doc D, Dr. Destruction, which was kind of paying homage to the late MF Doom. And he would drop an album entitled Planetary Destruction, with features from Ghostface Killah from the Wu-Tang Clan and Del the Funky Homo Sapien. The fact that these are two insanely talented, insanely revolutionary acts within the hip-hop genre, and they were to feature on not just Logic's song, but one of Logic's alter ego's aliases that people didn't even know was really him at the time, shows that they really do respect him and are here for the music regardless. After this, Logic began a short run with Madlib leading up to their collaboration album entitled MadGic that actually still has not come out yet because a lot of the samples couldn't get cleared, but there were 3 tracks uploaded to YouTube that Logic uploaded of him rapping on some old Madlib production.
Because like it's not like he's, you know, you're going to be able to go on like Apple Music and find these things. They're going to jump. It's not like they're like Super Funk Breaks Volume 8.
No, it's like some he picked up in like Brazil, you know, or whatever. But I was like, okay, that's fine. And so we're still working on it. I'm just going to take those dope raps and just put them on new beats that he makes. You know, so it's really not that deep. And it's going to be amazing. And maybe we'll release those demos for free one day.
Yeah.
You know, like people can see them.
So it seems like that album is still in works to this day. So when that drops, that'll be pretty crazy. Now, present day, Logic drops the album Vinyl Days, which was an album all about flipping samples. He got Madlib's right-hand man and best friend Egon to send him 100 vinyl from his vinyl company to sample for the album, and even has a track dedicated to Madlib on the album, asking him to bring Quasimodo back and rap. The track is entitled Quasi, and the album features many legends in hip-hop, including The Game, Blu Exile, AZ, The RZA, Royce da 5'9", and more. This album is sprinkled with call-outs and love to other rappers, like these lines on Black White Boy, where he's showing love to many of his peers, both from this generation and from the old generation, and saying that he needs to stop showing love because he'll never be able to stop if he keeps going. That's how much Logic loves hip-hop and loves the artists and people within it. And speaking of, I think Logic kind of explains this pretty well on the track introducing Nezzy.
Legends love Logic, peep my features alone. Haters talk shit, fans it's like leave them alone.
Who cares what little Brandon on Twitter has to say about Logic, because all of these legends throughout his career have come together to show him love and show him he is valid within this community, and no one can take that away from him. Now the album closes out with a very long speech from Egon where he says, Logic as a rapper is an anomaly, a person who is out of time, living in the present, rooted in the past, but a traditionalist who believes in the future, who believes in what hip-hop was and can still be. So we're here in this modern time thinking about it and listening to the development of hip-hop and its future all at once. I think a lot of people in the modern sense of the word get caught up in how fleeting time is, and they believe what's happening right in front of them is the most immediate thing and the most meaningful thing, and they have to engage with what's happening in the moment because that moment's going to be gone and they're not going to care and no one else around them is going to care. And I think we forget great experiences in the time and humanity go on for decades, centuries, sometimes millennia before anyone really knows how to make sense of them. And so, in the same way that the monks in the Dark Ages were keeping records and saving books, it's important for us to make sense of one of America's great folk musics, and that's hip-hop. And there's very few people who care enough to actually keep the form going while trying to push it forwards. Logic's one of those dudes. And the reason Madlib and I decided to work with him is because he came through with the true sincerity and appreciation for the form, and for all the people who make it. And like a true understanding of the craft and what's doing what and how their technique is either important, relevant, something that needs to be preserved or not. And I remind myself that even though hip-hop seems in my mid-40s to be an old thing because it's been around since the early 70s, it's actually just in its infancy. And if it's not for people like Logic trying to keep its tradition alive, we're really not going to know how even shortly after we're supposed to come. This hopefully is an art form that's going to outlast all the art forms that precede it and formed it. And we're only going to know that if people who truly have the passion, belief, and the proficiency, the musical acumen to hold the form, hold it dear, and at the same time not be so reverent and push it forwards, are there to show us the way. So hopefully he's one of those dudes. I have that belief. Now coming from Egon, someone who has been studying and appreciating hip-hop for years and years and years and years and years, who is an associate and best friends with one of the greatest hip-hop producers of all time, this is kind of a lot. This is a big pedestal to put Logic on, and I think it accurately represents what a lot of these legends look at Logic for, and why, if you don't respect Logic, you should. Throughout Logic's long career, he has attempted to keep a balance between his pop and mainstream activity, while also showing love and respecting the greats that came before him and the platform he has today. From 1-800 to Wu-Tang Forever, it is clear that Logic is an artist with many talents and ambitions in the definition of an artist that you cannot put into a box. I appreciate you guys watching and stopping by. That's all I got for you guys today. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss any updates on the videos, anything like that. Go in the description, follow my TikTok, my Spotify, and my Twitter too. And yeah, it's been Bryce. Peace.
Can I picture little Bobby, just a young'un run around with his bands, hammer in his hand, feeling like a man. The illest to ever do it. Run for the pole, get the gun, put it in your brain like goddamn. Put it in your brain like goddamn. I hear him